I recently completed my 7th round on the Andy Cutler Chelation protocol to handle my mercury toxicity issues, and I wanted to share my journey with you on the hope that it may help you on yours. In this video, as well as sharing how I felt this week, I'll talk about how to respect the health choices of others and about how we can use checking in points to help us stay positive on our journeys. I started my 7th round of chelation last Friday morning and ended it this Monday morning. I took 3 milligrams of DMSA and ALA per dose, with doses every 3 hours or 4 hours during the night, and I took my version of the Core 4 both on and off round. So, how did I feel this week? I'm happy to report that this is my best week since I started chelating, and while I didn't feel great either on or off round, I didn't feel terrible either. My symptoms were much more manageable and they didn't have a huge impact on my life like they did in previous weeks of chelation. On Sunday, my 3rd day of chelation, I had a bit of hypersalivation. When I think of the word hypersalivation, I remember back to when I would fill a pint glass with spit over the course of a couple of hours or something. But in this case, it was more that I needed to spit in the sink a few times. I still reckon this counts as hypersalivation though, because it isn't normal for people to need to spit so much. On the Sunday night, I noticed ringing in my ears, although it's actually almost always only in my right ear that I hear ringing. While this isn't a new symptom by any means, the fact that I noticed it must mean that I didn't have it before the Sunday. This is great progress because one of the things I noticed in my first few weeks of chelation was that I had pretty much constant tinnitus. I'll count this as a victory and a sign that things are generally improving. That same night, I didn't sleep well. It took me a while to get to sleep with the tinnitus and general heavy feeling, and I woke up a couple of times in the night and couldn't get back to sleep for a while. I also had trouble sleeping a couple of nights during the week. It's interesting how some symptoms seem to come together. I think I see a general trend in that when I have more tinnitus, I find it harder to get to sleep. My week off round was so much better than it has been every week until now. In many previous weeks, I could literally feel my brain processing slowing down and me becoming more irritable over the course of the Monday, but I didn't feel that at all this week. I felt okay. Not great by any means, but okay is still a huge improvement. A couple of nights while I was off round and couldn't get to sleep, I noticed tremors too. When I get tremors, I can feel them internally, so I feel kind of vibration coming from inside, but they're probably not noticeable to other people. I notice them most in my head, my jaw, my hands, my feet, and my spine. I sometimes play badminton on a Tuesday, and I have almost every week since I started chelating. This is the most strenuous exercise that I do at the moment, so it's interesting to see how my body reacts to it each week. In previous weeks, I generally feel pretty bad while I was playing. From time to time, I'd get out of breath, feel dizzy, or notice floaters. But this week was pretty good. I had more energy and I felt okay. This is another one of the small victories that I think it's really important to recognise and celebrate. My badminton games are also a good example to demonstrate something that I like to call a checking in point. As with many health journeys, a chelation journey is likely to be more of a marathon than a sprint, which makes it particularly important to keep a positive spin on the journey as much as possible. One of the ways we can do that is to take something that we do regularly and assess how we feel each time we do it. You could write down any symptoms you're having and how you're thinking or feeling, or you could just keep a mental note. Then when it comes to the next week or the next time you do the same thing, you can compare how you felt with how you felt previously. The important thing here is to keep the positive spin. If you feel better than you did the last time, great, that's a victory. Celebrate it. If you feel worse, well, everyone has bad days, just don't dwell on it. If you want to do this, I recommend that you choose events that happen regularly, such as on the same day each week. You could use any regular event as a checking in point, such as playing sports, any repeated social event like a date night, or playing D&D, which is one of my big passions. This week I learned that one of my friends and colleagues had a mercury filling recently. We spoke about it before he had the filling, and I warned him against having it. He knows that I've had issues with mercury. We've spoken about it quite a few times in the past, but he didn't see me at the lowest point on my health journey. The heartbreaking thing is that he said he chose to have the mercury filling because it was the cheapest option presented by his dentist. I'm hopeful that over the coming years the use of amalgam fillings will continue to phase out. We've seen glimpses of this already, as in 2020 the US FDA recommended that certain at-risk groups, such as pregnant women, children, and people with neurological diseases, don't have mercury fillings. My wife is from Brazil, and she says that these days in Brazil most dentists don't use mercury fillings. I won't lie, I'm a little sad that my friend chose to ignore my advice and had the amalgam fillings anyway. I really hope that it doesn't impact his health negatively, but less than a week after he had the fillings, he had a day off work with a migraine, and I can't help but wondering if it's related. With anything in life, we each have to learn from our own mistakes, and everyone has their own journey. None of us knows everything, and experiences that we've lived ourselves are so much more powerful in determining our choices and behaviours than second-hand stories told by others. So in situations like this, all we can do is share our stories, respect the decisions that other people make and their right to make them, and be there for anyone that wants to have a serious conversation about how they may be able to improve their health. As always, if you think you're mercury poisoned, I hope this video helps you convince yourself that you're not crazy, you're not alone, and you can heal. Check out the videos above for more accounts of my chelation journey, and I'll see you next week.